And I know these last few weeks in travel, we've brought you fantasy football advice, and there's also been moments where we were not able to. So I do appreciate the fact that you have navigated through this with me. We bring you fantasy football advice all throughout every NFL season of the past many years. And I appreciate you being here inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour on Wake Up Call, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Very, very happy to be here. And of course, big time thanks to the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. What a wonderful place. And I was just there a couple days ago on Monday to do our live broadcast. We do live on-site broadcasts at the Wildcat Sports Pub every month for the past 8 years. We've been partnered, 8 years and change. We've been partnered with the wonderful Wildcat Sports Pub, and I just love being there. So great to be there with the kids, great to be there with the community this past Monday, celebrating West Genesee football. So we already got a question that came in. Should I drop Keon Coleman for Michael Pittman? Well, that's an interesting question. I'm going to answer it in just a few moments here, so I appreciate it. And should I drop Keon Coleman for Michael Pittman? Well, it's funny because Michael Pittman was one of those guys that people were asking earlier in the season, should I drop him? Right? Should I get rid of him? And that's why I tell people, sometimes you got to just wait it out. Sometimes you got to just see. You don't know. And there are moments where there's going to be adversity, right? Not everybody's going to come out and have a great start to their season. You want them to. But people have fire sales. People get scared. They get scared really early on. Should I keep this guy? Should I not keep this guy? Look at what happened. Yada, yada, yada. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. What should I do, Dan? And the reality of it all is sometimes you just have to wait. Sometimes you just have to wait and see. Wait and see what happens because you never know what's going to happen next. And Michael Pittman he's one of those guys that I think a lot of people wanted to throw out early on. And then, now the question becomes, do I go out and get him, Dan? After the question was, do I drop him from this team? So I appreciate the question coming in. You could send in your questions to us on any one of our channels. And so I want to make sure I get to who asked this question. Marlon. All right, so Marlon, I am going to answer your question momentarily. I wanted to give you a little shout out there, Marlon. Marlon, let us know where you're watching from, too. I always like to give shout outs to countries and states that people are at, so make sure you do that. But I do want to give a special thanks to everyone who has found us on Amazon Music and Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you got to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. So make sure you do that. And of course, you can find us on YouTube.com where you are right now, YouTube.com/Wake Up Call DT, Facebook.com/Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Marlon coming to us from Mexico today. Shout out to Mexico. Big time shout out. So thank you, Marlon. Shout out to you and everybody that is in the great country of Mexico. So much love and much respect. I got to visit Mexico for the first time ever a couple of years ago. So big time shout out to Mexico. And the question once again, should I drop Keon Coleman for Michael Pittman Jr.? So let's take a look at Michael Pittman Jr., where he's been at recently here. Michael Pittman, a guy who, and again, I mean, Joe Flacco, looking at, where this situation is going to be for the Indianapolis Colts. And I mean, the Colts they've been through a lot, right? They've been through a lot. And Joe Flacco now, a quarterback change for the Colts. They're going to bench their first round pick, Anthony Richardson, and they're going to start Joe Flacco. This man is friggin' timeless. I backed Joe Flacco when he was a rookie, and he is still timeless in this thing, and he's out-seeding Anthony Richardson. So taking a look at the most recent game, their 3-point loss to the Houston Texans on the road, and Michael Pittman Jr., he had one catch for 16 yards and no touchdowns. So, I mean, your question is, do I go and get Michael Pittman and essentially hope that he's going to get some good stuff from Joe Flacco because he hasn't looked great statistically. Now, Keon Coleman, on the other hand, Keon Coleman, the rookie, a 2024 second round pick, 33 overall out of Florida State. If we go back and look at his game log and see how Keon Coleman's been doing, Keon Coleman most recently, he caught 5 for 70 yards and a touchdown. He had a 100-yard game before that. He has 3 touchdowns on the season. I don't know if I would drop Keon Coleman. I mean, I don't know if that's something that I would necessarily look to do, Marlon, here. But I mean, I would say he just had a disciplinary matter go on. So, I would say, I mean, he was late arriving. Okay. So that was back at the end of September. He had his disciplinary thing. I mean, Marlon, ultimately, Keon is my worst option. Okay. Well, if he's your worst option and you want to take a chance on Pittman, take a chance on Pittman. The only reason why I'm going to tell you to take a chance on Pittman is because it's not that Keon, I don't want you to come back and look at this and say, Keon Coleman scored this week, Dan, because keep in mind, he hasn't had bad statistics. So, recently here, he's had a touchdown and a 70-yard game. Before that, he had a 125-yard game. The real thing that comes down to this is Michael Pittman, can he wake up with a new quarterback? Marlon said, I have Drake London, Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas Jr., Devontae Smith, D-Hop, and Keon. If you want to make a move, I think Keon's going to be okay this year. But if you want to bank on, I'm going to jump on Michael Pittman now because people gave him up because Anthony Richardson's been struggling, and I'm going to hope that Joe Flacco can change the game, I'm okay with that reasoning, Marlon. I'm okay with you saying, I think that Michael Pittman might wake up with Joe Flacco. So I'm good with that. If you want to make that move, I'm okay with you making that move. I would just understand that I think Keon's, got some stuff to show, but I understand at the same time why you would make that move. We're going to go in order of games here, and as questions come in, we'll answer those questions. We're going to start, as we always do, with Thursday Night Football. The Houston Texans at the New York Jets. This is not a team that the New York Jets... Well, I don't know if there's any team that the New York Jets want to see right now. This team has been not great by any stretch of the imagination. They have found ways to lose. They just lost to the New England Patriots in a season where the New England Patriots are not that great. Drake May, maybe he can, have a future here and have some good things happen, and hopefully it does for his sake. And, always hoping the best for everybody involved, never hoping the worst for anyone. So, but losing to the Patriots this season, that's going to irk Jets fans. And Jets fans are already irked. They're already bothered. Their head coach has been fired. They have an interim head coach. They've had a mix-up on who's calling plays offensively and different things happening there. They go ahead and they bring in Devontae Adams and reunite him with Aaron Rodgers after they played together when they were both members of the Green Bay Packers. So, there's been a lot of shifting that the Jets have tried to do, but, has anything worked up to this point? The answer, as you know, is no. So the Jets hosting the Houston Texans when the Houston Texans are a good team and the Houston Texans are a strong team and a team that you really don't want to face because, one, I told you going into the season that I think they could be a threat to the Kansas City Chiefs. And I still stick by that. I think the Kansas City Chiefs, do a lot of good things, and they may get some, Jordan calls when it comes to officiating. But at the same time, the Houston Texans are for real. And I believe that they're in a good place. You got a good coach. You got the reigning offensive rookie of the year. You got the reigning defensive rookie of the year. So to me, you have a really good situation here with Houston. And then on the Jets side of things, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's been okay, but he hasn't been great. The team hasn't been great. This team has been struggling, and it leaves you in a place of really sitting here trying to figure out, like, okay, what are the Jets going to do? How are the Jets going to navigate through all this stuff that's been going on with them? Because they have really not had themselves a good run at anything, and that's been a tough go at it. So, I feel bad for Jets fans because you get Aaron Rodgers, but again, you have to temper your expectations, right? You bring in Aaron Rodgers, that doesn't guarantee you anything. And I think that there were some people out there thinking, like, we got Aaron Rodgers, we're going to win the Super Bowl. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case. Does he know what it takes to get there? Yeah. But, did he win every single one of them? No. So, you're going on to a team an organization that hasn't had a lot of bright spots in recent history. So, thinking that this team was automatically going to get their quarterback and win it all, I mean, that to me is a little bit of crazy talk. I think obviously anything good in life takes time. So we shall see. But to get things started here, we always start with the road team first. So let me go to the Texans and who you should play for the Houston Texans. Now, keep in mind, there is a good defense with the New York Jets. They do have that, but I think C.J. Stroud is worth the play. Joe Mixon, I'd put him out there. I'm going to call him a running back too. And Tank Dell, seeing Tank make his way back onto things. And so I'm going to say Tank Dell. I mean, obviously with Nico Collins out, that changes things. And Stephon Diggs out, that changes things. So Tank Dell is worth the play. And I think Dalton Schultz is kind of a sneaky play here. If you could play two tight ends, I'd probably call him a tight end too. Maybe a low end one, high end two. But I think in this game, maybe he is worth that play for you, knowing that there's other guys that are injured and you need another receiver. So outside of Tank Dell, I think that maybe you could look at Dalton Schultz. So that's what I would say on that side. And then going to the other side, to the New York Jets, who should you put out there for the Jets? That's a great question. And I don't know, Jets fans, if there's, truly a great option to put out there for you. But if we take a look at it right now, and we look at the Jets roster and where things are sitting at, and Marlon, I saw your stuff come in here, so I'll get to it in 1 second. But when we look to the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, he's full go, right? He's out there doing his thing. He's practicing. But when you look at the record, the team is 2-6. And their last game, the loss to the Patriots in Foxborough on the road, 25-22. We go back and see how the team fared here. Aaron Rodgers had 2 touchdowns to no interceptions, 17 of 28, 233. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen are both doing some good things, though. I mean, Breece had 80 yards on the ground. Braylon Allen had a rushing touchdown. And Garrett Wilson had over 100 yards. So it's not like there's not talent. They're not winning in reality, but in fantasy, I think Breece Hall's worth the play. I think Braylon Allen might be worth the flex. And I think Garrett Wilson is worth the play as well. I mean, Devontae Adams, he had 4 catches for 54 yards. Not too bad. It's his second week as a Jet. So you might want to flex out Devontae Adams. I don't know if you want to put him against the Houston Texans, but Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall I like, and Braylon Allen I like to a certain degree to put out there. Let's see what came in here. Where did you go in Mexico? Where did I go in Mexico? That is a very good question. I was on a cruise, and so we stopped. Where did I go? Now I got to think. It wasn't Cancun. Where the heck was it? I think it was a port, and now I can't remember it. Because I know I went to the Nassau, Bahamas, and then I also went to Mexico. But I got to do swimming with the dolphins thing, and that was awesome in Mexico. Marlon, where are you from? What part of Mexico do you hail from? Let us know. Let's see what we got here. We'll see when it comes in. So let's go to the next game. We're going to go to Cowboys-Falcons. We know that the Cowboys are a you-know-what show, and we know that the Falcons have, that they have life, right? Kirk Cousins is a good. I told you he was above the equator line. He was an above the equator line quarterback. I said that at least 2 years ago, and he continues, in my opinion, to. I mean, look at where the Atlanta Falcons are. I mean, you look at the grand scheme of things. Now, is the NFC South, is it typically a good division? No, but the Bucs have gotten better. The Falcons are 5-3. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. They beat the Saints, the Bucs, and the Panthers, and the Bucs again, all in their division. That's massively huge when you have to win your division to get in, and you're guaranteed a home game if you win your division. So Atlanta's doing some good things. Dallas, on the other side, is just a haphazard team that struggles and doesn't have a lot of great things to write home about. The Dallas Cowboys are in a place where I'm just not seeing it. They're 3-4. They lost to the Lions and they lost to the Niners. Their wins this season are at the Browns, at the Giants, and at the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers win, that's a good one, because the Steelers have had a pretty good season. But as we take a look at the Cowboys here, the road team, Dak Prescott, I'm not telling you to put him out there. Zeke Elliott, I mean, if you want to flex him out, he shouldn't be your running back 1, and he shouldn't be your running back 2. CeeDee Lamb is the only guy that I'm like, yeah, go play him. I like that. Delvin Cook, yeah, no. So, I mean, I would just say CeeDee Lamb, honestly. That would be where I would go if I'm on the Cowboys side. If I'm on Atlanta's side, this might be the week for you to play Kirk Cousins. I mean, let's see who's off. The Steelers are off and the Niners are off. So if you have Steelers and Niners quarterbacks, maybe this is the week you play Kirk Cousins. Bijan, I like him in this game. Tyler Algier, I like him in the game as well, because it seems like they're finally starting to use them together. Drake London, I'm going to say he's a wide receiver 2. And Kyle Pitts, I'm going to put him as a tight end 1. I like this matchup for Atlanta. So, Jerry, don't be sorry to be late. I appreciate you. I hope the doctor went well. You're always in my prayers, and I got much love for you, my good sir. So, next one we got up here, the Denver Broncos at the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to go to Broncos first on the road side. I told you in the preseason, my preseason prediction, that the rookie quarterback that would have the best season of the 2024 rookie quarterback class would be Jaden Daniels. And I said behind him, I'm picking Bo Nix to have the best rookie season behind him. Jaden Daniels first, and then I was picking Bo Nix. And I don't know if anybody picked Bo Nix besides me. Maybe Bo Nix picked himself, which he should. But looking at the Denver Broncos and where they've been at, the Denver Broncos are currently sitting at 5-3. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. They beat the Bucs on the road. They beat the Jets on the road. They beat the Raiders at home. They lost to the Chargers in this run. They won at the Saints, and they beat the Panthers at home. So now they're at the Ravens, and the Ravens are absolutely a dangerous team. So this game, I think this game is more fun than people might give it credit for. Both teams are 5-3. The Broncos are 3-1 on the road, and the Ravens are 2-1 at home. So to me, I think this is setting up to be a really fun game. Would I play Bo Nix in this game? I'm going to call him a low-end 1, high-end 2 at quarterback. And then as far as statistically, some of these guys that you should be putting out there, like who is the offense running through with Bo Nix, their rookie quarterback from Oregon, most recently. Now, keep in mind, they played the Carolina Panthers, who are absolutely terrible. But Bo Nix was 28 of 37, 284, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jaleel McLaughlin had 47 yards on the ground. Javonte Williams had 44. Javonte had 9 more carries than Jaleel McLaughlin. Bo Nix had a rushing touchdown. He had 4 touchdowns in that game. Cortland Sutton got to 100 yards. Adam Trotman, their tight end, 4 catches on 4 targets, 85 yards, and a touchdown. So, I mean, in this game, they are playing Baltimore. So I'm going to say Bo Nix, like I said, low end 1, high end 2 at quarterback. Javonte Williams, I'll say, I mean, I would like to, in a deep league, say that you can flex him out and put him as a running back 3, but maybe maybe, or in a non deep league. In a deep league, right? In a deep league, you're probably gonna have to put him at a 2. So let's say Javante safely at a 3, maybe a 2. Cortland Sutton, I'd put Cortland Sutton out there. On the other side of it with the Baltimore Ravens. So let us know where you're from, Marlon. And then for the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, yes. Derrick Henry, yes. Zay Flowers, I say yes. Let me call him. Denver's defense is pretty good, though. I'm going to call Zay a flex out. And I'm going to call it like Zay safely a wide receiver 3 this week. And then as far as the tight end situation goes, I mean, they just lost to the Browns on the road 29-24, which is gross. And so, because the Browns are not good. I mean, the Browns are 2-6. But numbers-wise, Isaiah Likely had 47 yards. Mark Andrews had 36. Mark Andrews had 5 catches. Isaiah had 4 catches, but one of Mark Andrews' catches was for a touchdown. So I don't know what you want to do in this game if you want to play Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely. I would lean a little bit more on the side of Mark Andrews, but it's hard for me to pick one because these guys have really been working together. So I like I said, Zay Flowers you could flex out, and then Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. I mean, keep in mind, Denver's defense is good, and their offense is waking up. There's some good things happening with the Denver Broncos, and both of these teams are 5-3, if you believe it or not. Whether you believe it or not, it is true. So the Denver Broncos at the Baltimore Ravens. There we go. We're going to go to the Dolphins at the Bills. The Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. The Miami Dolphins right now, looking at where they stand, this is a team that is still trucking, still moving. The Patriots aren't that good. The Jets are even worse. The Dolphins are 2-5, but not giving up here. So they just lost to the Cardinals at home 28-27. And in that game, Tua came back. Whether you agree with it or not, and I hope that this dude never gets hit again, but he's playing football and he's a quarterback, so you got to be safe. Tua is back. He had 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 28 of 38. Devon Achane, he had 97 yards on the ground, 9.7 yards a carry. Mostert had 2 rushing touchdowns. Achane didn't have any rushing touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 72 yards. Achane caught 6 of the 8 passes thrown his way and had a touchdown. So Mostert had 2 rushing touchdowns, and then fellow running back Achane had almost 100 yards on the ground, and you take that 97, you add the 50 that he had catching, and you got 147 yards plus 6 catches in a PPR situation. Jalen Waddle, 4 catches for 45 yards. Obviously, the offense is better with Tua, and I'm not trying to take away from anybody else behind them, but with Tua Tagovailoa, they're a better team. And so, I mean, Miami in this game up against the Buffalo Bills, I mean, would I be starting Tua? Probably not. I would say Mostert. I'm going to say Achane over Mostert, but I'm going to say Achane. I'm going to call him running back 1 this week. I'm going to call Mostert a 2, if not a 3. Tyreek Hill, I'm going to say is worth putting out there. We know how he does against the Buffalo Bills. I'm sorry to bring that up. Jalen Waddle, I'm not as sold on. I don't feel as comfortable putting him out there. But Waddle while you work. I mean, if Tua's out there healthy and Jalen's out there doing his thing, then I'm going to say Jalen Waddle. I'm going to call him, if Tyreek is a 1, I'm going to call Jaden I'll call him a 2. He's a safe 3, but in a deep league, we can call him a 2. On the other side for the Buffalo Bills, I mean, this is a team that's moving and trying to do some special things this season, and the Buffalo Bills currently are 6-2. They're first in their division of the AFC East. They have won 3 in a row after losing at the Ravens and at the Texans, which are 2 teams they could see in the playoffs. So they're going to have to figure that out and be ready for that and win the games that are ahead of them. But, in this, I mean, I would play Josh Allen. I would play James Cook. I told you about James Cook. I mean, I interviewed him when he was with Georgia when they went on to win a national championship, and Syracuse head coach. Fran Brown was an assistant coach on the team at the time. James Cook he was somebody I talked about repeatedly. And people like him now, but in that rookie season, they're like, I don't know. Dude fumbles, he does this, he does that. But, I told him, I said, I think James Cook's going to come in there, and the two running backs that they have, Singletary and Moss, that he's going to be able to do what they both do, and so they're going to be able to get rid of them and just have James Cook be the main guy. And look at what happened. Singletary's not there, Moss isn't there, James Cook's the main guy. Ray Davis has done some good things as a rookie. Khalil Shakir had over 100 yards. Most recently, Keon Coleman had a touchdown. Dawson Knox got involved. Kincaid had a touchdown, but Knox did have 50 yards on just two catches. On the two passes that were thrown his way. So, Josh Allen, yes. James Cook, yes. Dalton Kincaid, yes. Keon Coleman, flex. Amari Cooper, that's up to you if you want to take a chance on that. He scored in his first week and quiet this past week. Only one catch in the victory. So that's up to you if you want to put him out there and give him a shot. So we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We'll come back with the Saints at the Panthers on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour. You got a question, you send it in to any one of our channels, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub is the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Go to youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com to connect with the show and to ask your questions. We'll be back after this fast break.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Under promise, over deliver, as we'll be hanging out with you longer here today. The next game that we have up is going to take us to Charlotte, North Carolina for the Saints at the Panthers. Now, the Panthers they were the worst team in football last year. And I said in the preseason they may be the worst team in football this year. Well, they haven't disappointed in that respect. They have been the worst team in football, unfortunately. Now, Derek Carr, let's take a look at this right now. Derek Carr is questionable with an oblique injury. So Spencer Rattler, he was pulled early in the loss. Jake Hayner came in the second half for the Saints most recently. So we're in a situation of, who's the quarterback going to be? But they're playing the Panthers, so they might want to sit out Derek Carr for another week. The team is 2-6. You obviously want to win, but you're not playing a great team. They won their first 2 games of the season. That first game was against the Panthers at home. That second game was at the Cowboys. But after scoring 91 points in the first 2 weeks, they scored 12 in a loss to the Eagles, 24 in a loss to the Falcons, 13 in a loss to the Chiefs. They gave up 51 and scored 27 in a loss to the Bucs. They scored 10 in a loss to the Broncos, and they scored 8 in a loss to the Chargers. Now they're playing one of those 2 teams that they beat in the beginning of the season, playing them again. So the Panthers aren't that great, right? Arguably the worst team in football, but on the Saints side of things, they're going to have to figure this out because, do you have to play Derek Carr in this game? I would say no. Because it is Carolina, but you do want to win and stop the bleeding. You've lost 6 games in a row. Kamara, I would say, you put Kamara out there. But in this 26-8 loss on the road at the Chargers, Taysom Hill completed a pass. Hayner was 9 of 17. Rattler was 12 of 24. Nobody threw a touchdown. Nobody threw an interception. Kamara did okay. Olave got over 100 yards. Kamara did good. Kamara had over 100 all-purpose yards, 67 rushing, 55 passing, caught 6 passes. So I'm going to say play Kamara and play Olave. That's where I feel okay with. If you want to flex out Taysom Hill, if you're feeling squirrely, maybe you do that. On Carolina's side of things, when we take a look at the Panthers, Carolina Panthers have won 1 game, and that was at the Raiders, 36-22, and that is when Andy Dalton stepped in when they benched last year's number 1 pick, Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick. So Carolina, Chuba, 56 yards on the ground. Jalen Coker had a touchdown. There's Xavier Legette had a touchdown. So 2 of their rookies, Coker's out of Holy Cross, and Xavier Legette's out of USC. Or pardon me, South Carolina. I thought USC, but South Carolina. So, for Carolina, I don't necessarily think there's anybody I would tell you to play. If you want to put Legette out as a flex, maybe. Deontay Johnson was traded to the Baltimore Ravens, so he's not there anymore. Deontay, in the offseason, went from the Steelers, where he started his career, to the Panthers, and now he's a Raven. So going back to that game against Denver, maybe you pick up Deontay Johnson and just kind of see what he does this week. But Deontay Johnson's no longer a Carolina Panther. I would say Kamara and Olave in this game are probably your 2 best bets. Next game that we have up, the Raiders. So the Raiders. So always giving love back to the Boom, who I got to meet and speak with, and that means a lot to me. The Raiders at the Bengals. Now, the Bengals, I got asked last week if somebody should play Joe Burrow, and I was I'm trying to remember what quarterback it was, Joe Burrow or this. Oh, it was Burrow or Stroud, I think, and I told him to play C.J. Stroud. Cincinnati did not have a good game last week, so Joe Burrow, not great by any stretch of the imagination. It wasn't a great game for the team. The Las Vegas Raiders, they're just not having a good season at all. Let's start with the Raiders because they're the team on the road. So you take a look at the Las Vegas Raiders, 2-6 on the season. They've lost 4 in a row in 5 of their last 6 games. And 27-20, they just lost to the Kansas City Chiefs at home in Vegas. Alexander Mattison led the team in rushing yards. I'm going to read this to you because it's gross. He led the team in rushing yards. Led the team 15 yards. He was 14 carries for 15 yards, 1.1 yards a carry. Trey Tucker had 7 yards on the ground. Minshew had 6. DJ Turner had 4. Amir Abdullah had 2. And Zamir White had -1. As a team, the Raiders ran the ball 21 times for 33 yards on an average of 1.6 yards per carry against the Chiefs, who are not that much better. The Chiefs averaged 2.8 yards a carry. Now, Brock Bowers, he's been getting involved. Jacoby Myers, Alexander Mattison catching the ball out of the backfield. DJ Turner catching the ball out of the backfield. So, I mean, DJ was a wide receiver for Pitt. So, DJ Turner doing his thing. He got a touchdown in his 3rd season out of Pitt. So, I mean, who do you put for the Raiders in this game? Alexander Mattison is just not somebody that I've ever trusted in fantasy. If you want to put Jacoby Myers out there as a flex, go ahead. If you want to put Brock Bowers low end 1, high end 2 at tight end, okay. I would play Joe Burrow. I would play Chase Brown. I would play Jamar Chase. T. Higgins has a quad injury, so you got to watch that. And then Yosivas, some people were getting really high on him, and he's been quiet. So I like Chase. I like Brown. I like Burrow. Brown probably is a running back too. See how T. Higgins is doing when he goes, before the game. You obviously got to check on that and make sure you know what's going on. I guess Jerry liked my Raiders thing. So that would be the Raiders-Bengals game. Once again, we're doing NFL Week 9 of the 2024-25 season in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, brought to you by the place where you should be watching the games every week, the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Head there today. You can also go for takeout and delivery by calling 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222. So, with that being said, we have the Chargers at the Browns. Chargers at the Browns. The Browns have famous Jameis as their quarterback. He just led them to a win. So a huge opportunity for them here to continue their success, as the Browns are 2-6 on the season, but they just defeated the Ravens 29-24. We're going to go to the Chargers first because they're the road team here. So the Los Angeles Chargers, in the first season under a coach who's returned to the NFL and returned to the West Coast, that being Jim Harbaugh. So the team is 4-3, and they just defeated the Saints, as I mentioned a little bit earlier here, 26-8. For this game, I mean, Justin Herbert, I'm going to say Justin Herbert, yes. I'm going to say J.K. Dobbins, yes. Ladd McConkey, I'm going to flex the rookie wide receiver out. I mean, he's playing the Browns. I'm going to call him a wide receiver too. And then for the Cleveland Don't Call Me Browns, they are in a place where you ever wonder why they're called the Browns and they used to have like a Keebler elf as their mascot, but they have the dog pound. Does that confuse people? Because it confuses me. Or the fact that the Browns have an orange helmet that looks like Syracuse. There's a lot of things that confuse me with Cleveland. I'm trying to understand. I'm seeking to understand and not just be understood. So on the Cleveland side of things, Jameis Winston, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in his debut as a Brown, 27 of 41, 334 yards. Nick Chubb had 52 yards on the ground. Dante Foreman had 26. Cedric Tillman had 2 touchdowns and 99 yards. Cedric Tillman, Tennessee. He was drafted last year, 2023, round 3, pick 74. And he had a breakout game with famous Jameis. Remember, every quarterback has their guy. And if Jameis is on the team and he's working out with people that aren't necessarily the first unit, that's why a name like Cedric Tillman might be at the top there of the yardage chart. Elijah Moore, he had himself 85 yards and 8 catches, 12 targets. Tillman was targeted 9 times. Jerry Jeudy targeted 8 times. He caught 5 for 79 yards. David Njoku had a touchdown. So famous Jameis did some good things. Who would I put out in this game? I'd put Nick Chubb out there, maybe Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman if you want to flex them out and give it a shot, especially if you have some players off this week from the Niners and the Steelers, and kind of just see, because again, every quarterback has their guy. So Jameis might be throwing the ball to some people that you don't expect and names that you don't know. But if Cedric Tillman becomes more consistent, David Njoku continues to get more involved, that's something you got to pay attention to. The Washington Commanders at the New York Giants. I can make this really easy and say, play the Commanders, don't play the Giants players. But Jaden Daniels, I mean, how many times you see a Hail Mary go through, but it went through for him. Prayers do get answered, and he is a man of God. So you shouldn't be surprised when something miraculous happens to somebody who openly talks about God. What does Jesus say? If you forget me before the world, I'll forget you before my Father. Jaden Daniels not forgetting God. I like Jaden in this game. I like Brian Robinson Jr. in this game. I like Terry McLaurin in the game. I like Zach Feels So Good at Ertz in this game. And then on the Giants side, who could I pick of the so many choices of the New York Giants, of all these I want to say student athletes, of all these players that have been so great, right? I mean, you know what? And I don't want to, let me not say that. I don't want to mock that. The Giants have not been a great team. I don't want to knock the players. The effort, I mean, these guys are going out and they're going to work, right? They're doing what they need to do. And Tyrone Tracy Jr., that man's going off. So let me be clear about something. The rookie out of Purdue, the round 5 pick 166, he's questionable in this game. But if Tyrone Tracy is able to go, that's a guy you might want to put out there. Darius Slayton had over 100 yards. Malik Neighbors is getting involved. I'm going to call Slayton and Neighbors wide receiver 3s, and I'm going to call Tyrone Tracy a guy you can hopefully flex out. But let's see if he's able to go. And, well, he's got a concussion, so he's questionable for this. So let's just temper our expectations. But if he could go, there's something to be said about putting him out there. But, yeah, I want to be clear. I was joking around about the Giants, just trying to have some fun. But I obviously respect the players and the coaches. JD5 has arrived. Raise hell is what Jerry said, because Jerry is a big-time Commander. Jerry, I didn't tell you this yesterday, but Isaac is also a Washington Commander fan. So you guys are in good company with each other. 2 of the best Jiminy Crickets that I have in my life. So shout out to you both. And thank you for all that you do. Let's go to the next matchup here. That's going to take us to the Patriots at the Titans. The Titans are not good. The Patriots are not good, but could they be getting better? Patriots, I mean, listen, if the Jets keep doing what the Jets keep doing, the New England Patriots, I mean, they could end this season second in the division, because Miami has struggled without Tua, and the Jets have struggled no matter who's out there for them. So, I mean, there's a world where we could see the New England Patriots actually, not that it would necessarily be close, but that they would be second behind the Miami Dolphins, or second behind the Buffalo Bills. We shall see. So in the game where they defeated the Jets, they stopped a massive losing streak. The New England Patriots this season won their first game at the Bengals 16-10, and then lost every game after that until they won this past week against the Jets 25-22 at home. So they just snapped a 6-game losing streak. And in that game against the Jets, how did they fare, you ask? Well, Jacoby Brissett was back doing his thing. Drake May only had 6 passes. Ramondre Stevenson, 20 carries, 48 yards, 2.4 yards a carry, but he had 2 touchdowns. Drake May has a rushing touchdown in the game. And then Kayshon Boutte had 3 catches on 6 targets for 46 yards. Hunter Henry, I mean, nobody was really crazy in the world of receiving. Ramondre Stevenson did catch 3 out of the backfield for a PPR guy. So I'm going to say in this game to play Ramondre Stevenson, maybe a Hunter Henry. I mean, if you play 2 tight ends, maybe you could put Hunter Henry out there. But for the Patriots, the only thing I'd feel safe about is Ramondre Stevenson. And Drake's got a concussion, so God willing, he'll be okay and he'll be able to come back. I still think Joe Milton's going to do something this season, get involved in some way, shape, or form. The Tennessee Titans, Will Levis, he is on the injury report. He has an AC joint injury. He was inactive this past week, so I'm going to double check right now while we're live here the latest on the Levis injury so that we have some type of note on this as we're talking about it. So let's see here. They're hopeful for his return. That was a day ago. He was inactive this past week. Yeah. So God willing, he'll be okay. He's not, well, let me see what it says here. He isn't likely to return. Oh, that was last week. Okay. So as far as the Titans go, I mean, they haven't had a good season either. The Titans are 1-6. Titans lost 3, won at the Dolphins 31-12, and then lost their last 3. They just lost 52-14 to the Lions, but keep in mind, they didn't have Will Levis as their quarterback. They had Mason Rudolph, who's the former Steeler quarterback that never panned out in Steel City. He had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Tony Pollard had 94 yards on the ground. Calvin Ridley had 143 yards receiving. So for Tennessee, if you want to put somebody out there against New England, I would say Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley. That's who I would kind of look to, especially if it's Mason Rudolph coming back. You know, maybe he's got better connects with Ridley, more comfort there. So we shall see. Jerry said, "You know, God loves the shout out to millions of people." Absolutely, man. And I proudly shout him out every chance I get. Every chance that I can to say something about God. Because if I don't, in those moments where I feel like I haven't said enough, that's when I feel terrible. Don't ever be afraid to talk about God. The Bears, and that's to me too. The Bears at the Cardinals. Let's go to this game next in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. It's open 7 days a week, including for all the game days. You can watch the World Series there. You can watch all these NFL games, college football, everything. And, of course, you can have your private party there by calling 315-487-2222. Schedule having your party and your event there, 315-487-2222. It's also the number that you can call for takeout and delivery. Let's go to the Chicago Bears. The Bears. So, the Bears, with number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams, they are 4-3. A lot better than maybe people thought they were going to be. They won 3 of their last 4 games. They were all at home. They beat the Rams at home. They weren't all at home. They beat the Rams at home. They beat the Panthers at home. They beat the Jaguars in London, but it was considered one of their home games because they gave up that home game to go to London. And then they lost at the Commanders most recently, 18-15. So the Chicago Bears, they I mean, Caleb Williams, would I tell you to put him out there, especially against Arizona? No. I mean, DeAndre Swift, you can put out there as a running back too. Rome Odunze, you can flex him out. But, I mean, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, I mean, they're all out. If you want to flex out these guys as a wide receiver 3, but it's hard to tell if it's going to be Moore, Allen, or Rome Odunze. DeAndre Swift, you can put out there. For Arizona, Kyler Murray, I like him in this game. I would say James Conner, I like in this game too. I'm going to call him a running back 2. Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm going to call him a low-end 2, high-end 3, but worth putting him out in this game. And I like Trey McBride in the game as well. So, Arizona is one of those teams that kind of confuses you, right? Because they'll go out there and they'll score a ton of points, and then they'll go out there and you're like, the heck are they doing? So, like, the Arizona Cardinals, they're 4-4 this season. Bears are 4-3. Somebody's going to have 5 wins if they don't tie. So, I think Arizona's going to get it. Let's go to the next one here. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles. The battle of teal versus that forest-looking green. The Jacksonville Jaguars have done everything that they could do to lose for the most part this season. It's been a very ugly season, unfortunately, for Jags fans. They're 2-6. They lost their first 4 games, and they won a game against the Colts, 37-34. Then they lost to the Bears in London. Then they beat the Patriots in London, and then they lost to the Packers most recently, 30-27. So, looking at the Jaguars most recently here at home this past week, seems like they haven't been home in forever. Tank Bigsby, he continues to do some good things. I like Tank Bigsby and I like Brian Thomas Jr. Trevor Lawrence likes Brian Thomas Jr. So I like Brian Thomas Jr. I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2 in a deep league, in a league that's, maybe doesn't have as many teams, maybe 8 to 10 teams or something like that. Maybe he's a wide receiver 3. But I like Brian Thomas Jr. in the game. I like Tank Bigsby. Those are the ones I feel safe with. I mean, if you have to go, Evan Engram too. I like Evan Engram. So I would look at Evan Engram in this. On the other side, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I like them all in the game. Dallas Goedert, he's questionable with a hamstring injury. If he's able to go, I like him in the game. If he's not, then obviously you keep him out. Let's go to this is an exciting game. When I see games like this, and it's got to be flipped because Detroit plays at home on Thanksgiving, but when I see Detroit Green Bay, it makes me think of Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving games should be divisional games. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But I feel like, I know these games are picked ahead of time, but how can you go wrong? You know what I mean? It's like when you pick a game ahead of time for Thanksgiving and the Lions and the Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving, then if you pick them to play a team out of their division, then you don't know. It could be a great matchup or it could be a not great matchup because of where those teams are at. But if you pick a divisional game, it really doesn't matter what the record is because people care about the division. And the division, you take care of the division no matter what you do around the rest of the league. If you take care of your division, you're not only going to get in the playoffs, you're going to get, at least one home game. So I just feel like every year on Thanksgiving, the Lions and the Cowboys should play a divisional game because that's going to create excitement no matter what the record is, instead of playing outside of your division and the Cowboys play like the Vikings, let's say. And what if the Vikings are like, at the time, what if they're 0-9, 0-10? You know what I mean? So what if they're 3-7? You know what I mean? So I think divisional games, you kind of throw the records out the window. So I feel like that's something that they should be doing, is playing divisional games on Thanksgiving because it gives more meaning to them. Would you rather watch the Commanders go up against the Cowboys, or would you rather watch like the Dolphins go up against Cowboys? You know what I mean? And if they're both having a good season, then yeah, it's a great game. But the divisional games are always great games because there are teams within division that, the Lions could be having a great season. Like, let's say for argument's sake, the Lions at the time of play are 8-2 and the Packers are 3-7. they're still going to play a great game against each other because they're those divisional rivals. Now, in this matchup for Detroit, I like Jared Goff. I like David Montgomery. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like Sam Laporta. I like him in this one. And then on the other side for Green Bay, Jordan Love, he went through one injury. Now he's going through another one. God willing, he'll be okay. He had to come out of the game with the Jaguars on the road. So God willing, he'll be all right. But Malik Willis has done some really good things. So just keep that in mind. I like Josh Jacobs in this game. Tucker Kraft, I'm going to call it tight end 2. Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs, I'm going to call them low-end wide receiver 2, high-end 3. I think the value's on Detroit's side in this matchup. So I'm gonna lean on Detroit in this one. Next one we're going to go to before we get to Sunday Night Foosball is I'm going to go to the Los Angeles Rams. They need to not do their logo the way they do it, because I still look at it and think it's the Chargers because of how it's that arch, and the Chargers have that arching lightning bolt. So the Rams at the Seahawks, this is a battle for inside of the NFC West. And I'm going to go to the Rams first. The Rams are in a place where, it's kind of like having a fire sale, right? What are we going to do? The team's not that good. So do we just get rid of people and get set to rebuild? I mean, Sean McVay has helped to get them to a Super Bowl, but kind of what's going on here? They've won their last 2 games, though. They beat the Raiders at home and they beat the Vikings at home after losing to the Packers at home and the Bears on the road. So, I mean, where are the Rams at? Because Cooper Kupp, they've been talking about Cooper Kupp being traded. So he might be staying put now. But there's another name that came up here, and I want to go to this. Let's take a look at this right now. Right, the Rams are right back in the thick of things after the win over the Vikings. So, I mean, that could be the thing that keeps Cooper Kupp there, because now they actually have a shot. So, let's see here. At this point, it'd be shocking to see the team trade someone like Kupp. Cornerback Tre'Davious White. So he might be leaving. Not a receiver, but one of their defenders. So that's interesting. I mean, the Rams are, I don't think anybody, well, some teams are kind of out, but the Rams, to me, they're not out of things yet. So, I mean, Kyren Williams, I like him in this game. Puka's back. Cooper Kupp is back. They're playing the Seahawks and they're playing on the road. Kyren Williams has done a bunch of good things. So, I mean, the win over the Vikings is huge, absolutely huge. The Vikings are 5-2 now, and the Rams are 3-4. Let's look at the Rams. Matty Stafford had 4 touchdowns in the win at home, 1 interception. Kyren Williams had almost 100 yards on the ground. Puka had over 100 yards. Cooper Kupp had a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson had 2 touchdowns. Kyren Williams had a receiving touchdown to go with 5 catches on 7. Kyren Williams has been fantastic this year. So in this game, I like Kyren. I like Cooper and Puka. And on Seattle's side, Seattle this season, inside of the NFC West, I mean, they're the first in that division, and they're 4-4 overall. They won their first 3 games, and they lost 3, and then they've split the last 2. They just lost to the Bills after winning on the road at the Falcons by 20, which is not an easy thing to do because, like I said, the Falcons have gotten better with Kirk Cousins at the helm here. Seattle, most recently, their rushing attack was awful. Against the Bills at home in Seattle, Zach Charbonnet had 3 carries for 4 yards, but he did have a touchdown. Kenneth Walker had 9 carries for 12 yards. Geno Smith, the quarterback, had 5 carries for 16 yards. 17 carries, 32 yards, 1.9 yards a carry as a team. Yuck. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 7 targets, 6 catches, 69 yards. A.J. Barner, raise your hand if he's a household name for you. 2 catches on 2 targets. The rookie out of Michigan, 2024 round 4, pick 121 overall, A.J. Barner, the tight end, he got himself involved this week. Kenneth Walker caught 4 of the 5 thrown to him out of the backfield. Zach Charbonnet caught 3 of the 4 thrown to him out of the backfield. So, I mean, that's a good thing there. Seattle, who would I play in this one? I mean, I would say Kenneth Walker is a running back 2. Charbonnet is a running back 3. Jackson Smith and Jigba is a wide receiver 2. DK Metcalf is questionable with a knee MCL injury. God willing, he'll be okay. Tyler Lockett hasn't really had a great season. So I guess the names I would say, Jackson Smith and Jigba, then Kenneth Walker III, then Zach past the Charbonnet. So we're going to take a step aside for our final fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, probably presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Week 9 of the NFL 2024-25 season. We'll take a step aside, and we'll be back right after this, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying. In the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. You will find hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, football, and more, as well as Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon cards while supplies last at GG Cards and Breaks. They do things differently. It starts with Josh and Anthony. The amount of work that they put in, everything that they do in the grand scheme of things when it comes to having every Major League Baseball team, every National Football League team, every National Basketball Association team right there on the back wall. Who does that for you? Nobody that I know outside of GG Cards and Breaks. They have packs, they have boxes, so you could try your luck and see what you get. They also have singles and they have graded cards. Go to GG Cards and Breaks today. It is so much fun. There are so many memories you can have. I have fantastic memories with my grandparents, with my parents, with my friends that are all connected to sports cards, and I've met some wonderfully incredible people at GG Cards and Breaks. Go and see them today, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. Let them know that DT sent you. Tuesday through Saturday, they're open 10 to 6, and on Sundays, they're open from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we got 2 more games to get to. We got Sunday Night Football, and we have Monday Night Football. So let's get into Sunday night. First, the Colts at the Vikings. Joe Mother freaking Flacco is the quarterback for the Colts now. Joe Flacco is timeless. He's just a national treasure. And on the other side of it, the Minnesota Vikings, they got a guy. How about this? How about Sunday Night Football rocking with these guys? Joe Flacco, who some thought his career was over, and Sam Darnold, who some thought his career was over. Now they're playing each other on Sunday Night Football. God works in purposeful ways. So in this matchup, I'm going to say low end 1, high end 2 for quarterback. I'm going to put Joe a little bit behind Sam Darnold. Jonathan Taylor's worth the play in this game. Michael Pittman's worth the play in this game. When you look at, let me look at this right now for the Colts. They're 4-4. So their season's still alive, and they're making this quarterback change right now. Like, hey, we need to do something. So Jonathan Taylor just had over 100 yards. Josh Downs, he just had over 100 yards in his second season coming out of the North Carolina Tar Heels, where I covered him there. He's a 2023 round 3 pick, 79 overall. So, yeah, I mean, Josh Downs and Michael Pittman. I'm going to say Jonathan Taylor's worth the play. I'm going to say Michael Pittman. I'm going to put him as a wide receiver 2. I'm going to put Josh Downs as a wide receiver 2 as well right now. I'm going to put Aaron Jones. You got to play Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. I like them all in this matchup. And TJ Hawkinson, he is expected to return this week, so just monitor that. If he's able to go, he could be another guy you want to put out there. So could be the difference. The last one that we have to talk about here is going to bring us to Monday Night Football, and that's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers up against Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my Lord, bless your heart. So the Bucs at the Kansas City Chiefs. And so let's take a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and talk about how many quarterbacks in the league this year. You know what? Let me do this right now. Let me talk about where these quarterbacks are, people that you thought were like gone, right? People that there's no way of resurrecting. Jameis Winston with the Cleveland Browns. Okay. Justin Fields / Russell Wilson with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Still trying to figure that out. But I'll mention Fields right now. We'll see how Russ the Bus does. Joe Flacco with the Colts. Sam Darnold with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going through all these, making sure I don't miss anybody. Baker Mayfield with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Derek Carr with the New Orleans Saints. Kirk Cousins with the Atlanta Falcons. All of these guys that people left for dead when it came to the game of football. And they're out here rocking it, doing their thing. So, shout out to them. Big ups to them. Tampa Bay, in this matchup, Baker. I'm going to say Baker Mayfield. I'm going to call him a low-end 1, high-end 2 at quarterback. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are both injured. Mike is out. Godwin's out. So that's not good. So that's why I probably got Baker as a QB2. And then as far as running the ball, Rachaad White, Sean Tucker. How about Sean Tucker, the undrafted rookie out of Syracuse? Made the team last year on the Bucs, stayed with the team the whole season, stayed with the team the whole offseason, and is still with the team now. So they obviously find value in Mr. Tucker, who's wearing number 44 after he wore number 34 at Syracuse, who's known for number 44 when it comes to running backs. And I asked him if he ever wanted to wear it, and he said no. He said he wouldn't take it if they gave it to him. He thinks he's doing okay with number 34, and he absolutely did. The rushing attack hasn't been great with Tampa Bay recently here. K-Dot got involved. You know, I don't know if I feel good about any. Rachaad White, I'm going to call him a running back too. Bucky Irving, if you want to flex somebody out, maybe. Sean Tucker, he's had good moments in primetime games. So that's a deep flex. I think Irving or Tucker could be like a running back 3 or 4. But maybe you play Rachaad White. I don't really feel great about any of the receivers. On Kansas City side, play Pat Mahomes, play Kareem Hunt, play DeAndre Hopkins is there now. Play Xavier Worthy, play D-Hop, play Travis Kelce. That's how I feel about it. We'll see what D-Hop can do, though. We'll see like how he figures things out. Because Tennessee, it's crazy, though. Think about D-Hop. When he was at Houston, he was arguably the best receiver in the entire nation of 32 NFL franchises. Then he got traded to Arizona for David Johnson, and that trade still makes no sense. And things didn't work out in Arizona. Then he goes to Tennessee. He's there for 5 seconds, and things don't work out. And now he's in Kansas City, and he's got a chance to win a Super Bowl. Good for Hop. D-Hop had 2 catches for 29 yards on 3 targets in the 7-point win on the road over the Raiders most recently here. Oh, did I say the Raiders? I meant the Raiders. So, yeah, I mean, taking a look at D-Hop right now, I mean, he could break out. It's going to be Monday Night Football, so we'll see. I'm sure Patty Mahomes might toss the ball out to him. But in his debut, not too shabby, 2 for 29. But yeah, there's a lot of people to play on Kansas City. Absolutely. I want to just check our YouTube feed here and make sure I didn't miss any other questions that came through. So let me just double check our YouTube feed. I want to shout out Mexico for watching the broadcast today. It means a lot to me. Let's see if we got any questions. Oh, we got a ton of questions. My bad. Brandon, as well as, I don't know who this person is because there's no name, and then Peyt. So, Brandon, I'm going to answer your question. Add Thielen or Leggett? So, Brandon, I'm going to go to you first. Apologize, I didn't see these come up. So, Brandon, I'm going to say, and if you're on our YouTube channel and you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. So, Brandon, I'm going to say Leggett. Then our next question is trade Kareem Hunt and Calvin Ridley for Devontae Adams. That would be no on the Adams trade. Especially with Ridley doing good things and Kareem Hunt being on the Chiefs again. And then Pate said Gabe Davis or Parker Washington for the rest of the season. That's a good question. Gabe Davis or Parker Washington for the rest of the season. I mean, the way the Jaguars are going, I'm going to say to Pate here, I'm going to say Gabe. Oh, no. Well, I mean, they're both on the Jaguars, but yeah, I mean, in my head, Gabe Davis was still a Buffalo Bill. But I'm going to say Gabe Davis. I think Gabe Davis has more of the, yeah, I mean, because Parker's been there for a while. So, I mean, I look at his last, yeah, I'm going to say Gabe Davis. I'm going to say Gabe Davis to you, Pate. So make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you so much for your love and support. As always, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is here with you. And make sure you don't play any Steelers this week or Niners because they're both off. So make sure you make those changes. Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. See them 7 days a week, and you can also get takeout and delivery by calling 315-487-2222. And if you want to have your party, your event there, then you can get in touch with them by calling 315-487-2222 as well. So, with that being said, big time shout out to Adam Zukowski, who is part of our first hour Major League Baseball talk. Shout out to the Dolphins. And I announced yesterday that Phil Brown is the new leader of the athletic department. There will be an exclusive first interview on Wake Up Call with him, and that is coming up very soon. So stay tuned to our social media to find out when that's going to happen. And thanks to all of you for supporting our fantasy football content. Wake Up Call is live worldwide, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. You can also search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you got to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, as well as the Brooklyn Pickle that is down in North Carolina and Southern Pines, down the road from Pinehurst Golf Courses. So make sure you head over there and show them some love in Southern Pines at the Brooklyn Pickle. We all know in Central New York how good Brooklyn Pickle is. You're getting to know down in North Carolina. Visit them today. Brooklyn Pickle, the best sandwich shop you're going to find down there. 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Brooklyn Pickle right there in North Carolina. Our partners here in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Servo-Mation, Mother's Cupboard, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, GG Cards and Breaks, Fire Pit Barbecue and Saloon, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Brian's Landing, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins weekly on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time at what we call the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, and administration. You can find all of our content by going to youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Lemoyne playlist. You can also find the Dolphins on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, and as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month in what we call the Bobcat Buzz, spotlighting men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports. All you got to do is go to youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT, click subscribe, and hit the notification bell to find our Bobcat Buzz content in the BSC Syracuse playlist. You can also find the Bobcats on WakeUpCallDT.com and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Bearcats every single Tuesday during Bearcat Time. Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. The Bearcats coming to you with Moments with Marshall, featuring Gene Marshall, Binghamton University Athletics Director, telling the story of Binghamton from behind the scenes, and the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration. All of that can be found on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Binghamton playlist. You can also find your Bearcats by clawing your way to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on the show, I want to thank Adam Zakowski. I want to thank the Wildcat Sports Pub for a great show this Monday, and this past Monday, and I want to thank them for being here with us for fantasy football in the Fantasy Football Power Hour. I also want to give a big time shout out last night to Avicoli's and Liverpool High School. Love doing our Liverpool show at Avicoli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. We packed the entire pizza side. We had a fantastic event with the Liverpool boys soccer team, head coach Paul Bonus and their captains. I want to thank Bobby McWaters as well as Evan Belfield, and I want to thank Connor Lynch as well as all of the families and all of the student athletes on the team. I want to thank Ari Lieberman and everybody over at Liverpool with the Warriors. They have a game tonight. They're playing their first postseason game tonight. It's going to be in Fulton on neutral field. It's against CNS, and a win gives them an opportunity to fight for a sectional championship in Section 3 Class AAA. So shout out to Liverpool boys soccer, and God bless to Liverpool and CNS having a great game in Fulton. With that being said, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Don't ever stop being yourself. Love yourself, be kind to yourself, and know that your people will find you and your people will stay with you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that all goes well. Kyle, you got a question that came in. Full PPR, pick one, Romeo Dubs or McMillan. Concerned about love. I understand that. Jalen McMillan, I guess you're saying? I'm going to say Dubs, man, because we know that Malik Willis has stepped in and done a good job, so I'm going to say Romeo Dubs. Make sure you all subscribe if you haven't already, if you're watching and listening. Thank you so much. God bless. No stress. Do your best. I'm going to share our apparel. Again, you can go and support the show by buying our apparel, and I look forward to you doing that. Have a wonderful day. God bless you all. Be safe. God bless means remembering the blessings that God has given you and that God is for you, so what does it matter who's against you? No stress. Stress kills. Worrying kills. Relax. When you relax, it will. And do your best, because to the people that want to be with you and the people that care about you, your best is going to be more than good enough, and it's going to speak to them in a way that nobody else has ever spoken to them. Have a great day. I love you.